We're so honored to have with us Senator John Thune. Please give it up for our Senator.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Well, thank you, Dale, and thanks for your great work and leading this great organization with integrity and with great passion. We know you truly believe in what you're doing, and this community, people here, this team that we have, also joins in that belief. And I'm grateful for your leadership and for all of your leadership for doing the heavy lifting year in and year out, and to be out there carrying the message. This is a very different world that we're in. What a difference a year makes, right? I mean, it's pretty remarkable, really. And you know, we were in Sioux Falls last year, didn't know what was going to happen with the Supreme Court's decision. And and by the way, Dusty and I are here today because Congress is out of session, which, by the way, is an applause line. You can applaud that. Thank you. These days, every day they're in session, bad things happen. So that's good. But as we thought about the potentiality of how that decision was going to come down, there were a lot of different ideas and permutations of what it might look like. Would they ratify Dobbs, affirm Dobbs? Would they go so far as to overturn Roe? And I had a number of conversations with people who were court watchers and people who were involved, listened to some of the oral arguments, many of whom were convinced that they were going to overturn Roe. And lo and behold, they did it. And what a different world it is. And I think as we think about the new world that we're in, and by the way, a lot of your efforts through the years helped get us to that point, because the 6 people who voted the majority opinion all came into office. They came into office under Republican presidents, and 5 of them under Republican Senate. And the last 5 I've been there for. And those 5 and the one that came previously constituted the majority that overturned Roe, and this 50-year fight that we've been on to get these decisions made, not by a bunch of people in black robes who are unelected, but by the elected Democratic leaders in this country. And that was a huge, huge win. So the court did it, but it didn't take long for folks in Washington, D.C. to try and change that, because it wasn't but a few weeks, maybe even a few days after that decision came down from the Supreme Court that Chuck Schumer put a bill on the Senate floor under the auspices of codifying Roe. The whole idea was we're just going to put this in statute. The thing was, it went way beyond codifying Roe. It actually made abortions legal up until the point of birth. It did away with the prohibition that had been in law going back to the 1980s on taxpayer funds being used to fund abortions. And it also took away the conscience protection that providers, if they decide they don't want to perform abortions, or facilities, it removed those as well. This was a far-reaching expansion way beyond Roe. Is an extreme position. And make no mistake, that's going to be their position. In fact, if it had just been codifying Roe, there are 2 Republican senators who would have voted for it. And they didn't. They voted against this because it was so far-reaching and so extreme and so radical. That's the benchmark that we're talking about when it comes to what the left in Washington, D.C. wants to do. And so there is a proposal that was offered here recently, and a lot of all the pro-life groups around the country were in support of it, that basically would have a federal law at 15 weeks, which is what 47 out of 50 European countries have in place. And it would respect and to defer to the states. So if states have stronger laws, in South Dakota we have a stronger law, it would defer to them. But I can just tell you, this issue is not going away at the federal level, because the political left and the pro-abortion lobby isn't going to let it go away. This is an issue we're going to be dealing with, and we need to be prepared for the fight that is ahead. And it will be a fight, because they are militant about this. And so as we think about that fight and what our approach should be in the weeks and months and potentially years ahead, I think there are a couple things that we ought to, how we approach this, that we ought to think about. One is to be principled. And I think that most of us here are probably believe in the pro-life movement and protecting the unborn for reasons that are deeply held. In many cases, they're anchored in our faith. And we have a lot of folks in this country who subscribe to a Judeo-Christian worldview. People who adopt and hold that worldview tend to believe the words in Jeremiah 1, where Jeremiah talked about, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Or in Psalm 139, where it says, I was knitted together in my mother's womb, and I am fearfully and wonderfully made. The Scriptures speak, throughout the Scriptures, replete with examples of respect and an understanding of when life begins. And so as we approach it, that's a lot of us, and it's a principle, it is a conviction, and it is something that we have to be able to speak about plainly in a principled way. And so I would say, be principled as we approach these debates that are ahead of us. Secondly, be passionate. Because in most cases, people don't, care what you know until they know that you care. And this is a great example of, when we're out there, a lot of people pay lip service to certain issues, but if it's really a conviction, there was a saying years ago that I kind of stuck with me, that men hold preferences, but convictions hold men. And if you really have a position that is more than just something that you pay lip service to, if it's really deep down in your heart, you're going to be passionate about it. And the people in this room, I know you're passionate about it. And as we think about the next few years, though, we've got to make sure that that passion is out there and that we're willing to do the hard things that are necessary to achieve victory. Because the other side will. They are passionate. And they are going to be all in. And we have to be all in to make sure that we're fighting for what's right and for what's true. So be principled, be passionate, and then thirdly, I would say be wise. And I think as we think about this debate in the years ahead, we have to think about how we can win and do it in a way, as the Scriptures say, Jesus told his disciples, be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. And I think when we are out there talking about this issue, talk about it in a way that speaks to that conviction, always willing to give a defense for the hope that is in you, but with gentleness and reverence. Scripture talks about, let your speech be with grace, seasoned as it is with salt, so that you'll know how to respond to each person. And I think as we are thinking about this, be passionate, but be wise in how you do it. And win people over by virtue of our arguments. And when I say be wise, and I say be principled, again, it's a deeply held conviction for many of us. But there's also a mountain of science, a mountain of evidence, a mountain of medical now knowledge that shows us that we have the right position. A lot of the legislation in the last few years has revolved around when a baby can feel pain. We know that. And I think that as we think about how we move the ball down the field and ultimately get to the goal line, that we figure out how to take wins along the way and then how to keep moving forward. But do it in a way that's wise, making good decisions and knowing that the other side isn't going to agree with us. And in many cases, they're going to be, like I said, passionately, militantly opposed and out there in ways making their voices heard. Well, we need to make our voices heard too. But we need to do it in a way that's principled, it's passionate, and it's wise. And God gives us grace. He gives us wisdom when we ask for it. And on this issue, which is so fundamental, so foundational to who we are as people, who we are as humanity, we need to pray for that wisdom and to be wise in how we go about winning the argument and continuing to fight for truth. So I know you're warriors, And I appreciate everything you've done to get us this far. But it's not over. And it's never going to be over until his kingdom comes. But between now and then, we have to be in the battle, we have to be in the arena, we have to be standing up for truth in a principled, passionate, and wise way. And so I just want to encourage you, thank you for what you've already done, and let you know we're going to be in the arena fighting with you. God bless you, and may continue to bless our country. Thank you.
Thank you.